Oh, the lights are too bright. Ah, that sound is too terrible. I hate tags. Take those tags off. I can't wear socks. That's your sensory system talking way too loudly to you. Yes, hello. We are doing the ABCs of autism. I'm Dr. Lynette Louise, otherwise known as the Brain Broad, and this is the letter S for sensory. Your child with autism is likely dealing with all kinds of sensory input from the world that you don't generally have to deal with. I'm going to give you a quick understanding. There's a thing called synesthesia, another S, sensory synesthesia. And what that is it's an area of the brain where you have sort of an intersection. It's called the angular gyrus. And the stuff that's supposed to be going down the visual path and headed to the visual cortex ends up taking a little bit of a turn and getting mixed up with the auditory signals, or the signals that are coming from your taste, they get mixed up into your shape area. It's right about there in the brain. So when that happens, you get all kinds of really fun happenings. For example, someone could be eating soup and say it tastes too much like triangles or squares. This chicken is way too pointed. It'll sound strange to you to hear their complaints. It's a sensory problem. Things are getting confused. When I was a child, I had synesthesia. And synesthesia in my case was that I could hear color or I could see sound. So I played the piano by color and I composed by color. And I didn't know it was different, and no one knew I had this condition until one day as an adult, I'm trying to explain to my band, make the song a little more red, not enough green over here. And they're looking at me like, what is wrong with this woman? And I saw their faces and realized, oh, not everyone hears that way. Well, synesthesia of the nature that I had commonly happens when you're young and you grow out of it. And I've mostly grown out of it. However, your child's synesthesia may be more extreme. Just imagine what that's like to wear a shirt where the tag itself is stabbing you like a knife or scratching at you like the claws of a bear. There's all kinds of difficulty that happens from this. And what you want to understand is when it's actually sensory and when it isn't. What can I do about it? So the reason I wanted to discuss it is I've seen so many families, when they're perplexed by their child, they'll just say something like, he's so sensory. Oh, she's just so sensory. Well, that's not very useful, is it? So you don't just want to understand sensory and synesthesia, you also want another S. Specificity. Break it down and look at what the problem is. Many of these problems you can just get rid of. You can cut out tags. You can buy the stamp tag instead of the tag that sticks out. You can not insist they wear socks if socks bother them. That's one of mine. So you can really examine sort of a prioritizing here. Do I have to worry about this one, or can we just get rid of it? And then you'll be left with a handful of things that bother the child. And then you can expose, as in expose them to the problem a little bit at a time, without any stress, with lots of encouragement, with lots of comfort. And don't just say it's sensory. And the reason I bring it up, and I know I mentioned it in another one of these, is because a lot of the time when the kids cover their ears, they're really just asking you to stop bossing them around. But instead, people say, oh, he's really sensory right now. Or a lot of the time, the kids will bite their shirts or bite blankets. That's another common one. And it's just the desire to clench down is so strong, but it's made bigger by too many directions from you. So if you want to help them relax and heal their sensory system, you have to give them these sensory sensations in the absence of one last S word, stress. So let's not stress them out. Don't be too pushy, but do invite change. I'm Dr. Lynette Louise. You've been watching the ABCs of Autism. Please remember to like and subscribe.